Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmund, your host for the next few hours, along with Spence.
Hello, sir.
Hello. And Nick is here too.
I guess so.
And Mike is here.
Yeah.
Good morning. And why did it not switch to Mike? Jeez.
Don't worry about it.
I am worried about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't you tell me not to worry about
I've
it.
told you not to worry about it.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by Adamus.com, makers of professional video recorders and converters. And the broadcast is made possible by Telestream Wirecast software. And
So the video converter software, that can that make somebody handsome who's ugly?
oh yeah, absolutely. It
All
does. Nick, you must have not stayed late last night.
Stayed late where?
Stayed up, I should say.
Why?
Because you're here. You
I
woke
missed
up.
1 week, and it's like I'm never. It's like
It
I've
doesn't
never
matter.
been there.
It wasn't said in a way that, oh, boom, boom, boom.
No, well.
I'm surprised you didn't stay late. I mean, it was a Saturday night.
And I've been on this show for over a year, and I've been here every morning at 9 o'clock, besides a few occasions.
Our numbers,
That should not be a surprise. Why are you attacking me? I'm sick.
because
and
I
I'm
hate
here,
you.
So
Uh-oh.
and I'm here, so you got what you got. Deal with it.
Are you
Nick,
still sick?
It's a life lesson. You can have 1,000 attaboys, and all you need is one oh crap, and it's all over.
Amnon just doesn't want me on the show anymore, and it's fine.
That's
This will be my last week. I'm sorry.
it. Nick was at a Bernie rally. Yeah.
Yeah, you got me.
Yep. That's it.
It's
Yeah,
all
so
right.
my
It's all
voice
right.
is all scratchy, but we'll get through it. Don't worry.
You'll get better. And talking about being sick and all that, Garrett sent an email and said that he was in and out of the hospital this past week with his kidneys and his liver now. So everybody keep him in your prayers. He'll be back, but he doesn't feel very well.
Gotcha.
At around at 10 o'clock, Mayana will connect with us, will come and join us. But I already told her about the specials, Spence, so it'll work out. But we're going to talk about website security and anybody who wants to keep up or to get familiar with our guest today, her website is blogaid, one word.com. Blogaid. So, what else is going on?
Not much.
This was a pretty interesting blab yesterday with Steve.
Oh boy, getting into the hot stuff already.
Well, I mean, it was long.
I saw Brian was in it at one point.
Yeah,
on
for a
Twitter, I
long-
saw the little. I was out yesterday. I saw the little GIF that Brian was in there.
Brian was there for a few hours.
His wife must have been working.
I don't know, but he had some good information.
Yeah, he had permission to be there.
Even the pigs were okay with it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's the hard part.
Mike, since Mike or Spence, since you guys are local, did you get a notice from Duke Progress about joining their list of alerts?
I wouldn't know. My wife gets all that stuff, so she would be the one.
I can't believe it, and maybe one of you can inform me for what they want you to join the list, their mailing list, so they will inform you when your power is out.
By mail?
By email.
No, by mail.
Oh no,
By
no.
mail. They'll mail you
Oh,
No,
your
no, no,
router is
no,
a
no, no. By email
priority one mail, so even if the power's out, you'll still get it because the
By-
mailman will still deliver.
or by cell phone, text, stuff like that. But my point is,
Amnon, you can laugh at that, but like you're always home, so that's not really an issue for you. But people that like may live in the area that maybe I don't know, maybe they have a second house somewhere for work or something, or they're out for the weekend. I mean that it is
okay,
nice.
good point,
I mean,
Nick. Very good point.
No, it could
Very
be
good
useful.
because we have those alerts too, and like whenever we're on vacation and there's a because you know you go on vacation in the summer, a thunderstorm will roll through, and we'll get a text message from the power company that your power's out. So we'll ask one of our neighbors to check on our basement or whatever.
Okay,
I mean,
good
yes,
point.
you know that
good
the
point.
power's
Okay,
out.
okay. I didn't think about that. See how it is when you're thinking a certain way.
What did you think? They're just gonna notify you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Say what in the world? I mean, I already know that I'm out. I wanted to.
problem
I was gonna actually reply, but there was a do not reply thing, and say, can you let me know before it goes out that it's about to go out?
Yeah, the issue is the alert is really delayed. We get the phone call, and sometimes the power will be out for like 3 hours in the winter. This is what happens. The power will be out for like 3 or 4 hours before we get the phone call, and at that point, it's just stupid because it doesn't matter.
Well,
But I guess it is what it is.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of crazy.
I can't believe they didn't already offer that. It seemed. I
Well,
thought that
they
was like a-
probably did, but we were never on it. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I mean, we're still not on it. Like you
didn't si-
said,
you didn't even sign up for it.
the what? I'm sorry.
I said you didn't even sign up for it.
No.
No,
No,
you're
for
lost.
what? I
Every-
mean, like you said,
True.
there's always somebody in the house, so it's no big deal.
No, that's really the use case
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Good point. Good point, Nick. Thank you.
I'm full
Thank
of
you
good
for
points.
straightening it out for me.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
No,
or
I'm
that
not.
was
I mean,
actually
I'm
what's going
serious. It didn't even cross my mind. That's good.
I
All
like
right.
some of the offerings they have now for home monitoring that are very handy, like having a water detector that you can put next to your hot water heater that will talk to your thermostat and send you an email saying you have a water problem. So lots of innovation going on in that space.
Yeah, we have. You guys don't. Spence, you have a basement.
No, I've crawl
Okay,
space.
So we have a basement and a crawl space, and we've got 2 sump pumps in the basement. And they're powered by electric. So when the power goes out, they flood over. And we have those little sensors that notify us when they detect water, and they actually work really well. If I went down there right now and I put a few drops of water on it, it would.
Yeah, but
Start
they don't.
beep.
I mean, I think Spence is talking about something that will actually notify you.
No,
This-
it does. It sends you an email.
Oh,
Yeah. So if I went down
which
there right
one
now,
is it?
I don't know. I could get the
Next
brand,
time,
right?
next time you down there.
I set up a. I
Take
think
a
it's
look.
actually on IFTTT. I think I have it set up that way. I don't remember. It's been like 2 years.
Yeah, we have them, but again, since there's most of the time there's somebody in the house, we have them, but it's just a loud alarm, like a smoke alarm. that
Yeah, this one
just-
does the same. It beeps really loud.
Yeah.
The problem is sometimes the email doesn't always come through, but whatever.
Hmm.
So Amnon, I am sitting here and I was touching something on the desk.
Yeah?
And it switched to me. Wasn't making any noise.
I didn't. No, I mean, when
You
it's
switched-
it-
you
no,
switched me?
no. This is something. It happens for some reason more and more often that Nick or Mike will start talking, and it's still on you. It doesn't switch. So I will have to click on somebody else and back. So that may be what you're seeing. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'll mute.
No, I definitely don't hear any noise.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
you're trying to
switched to,
talk to Amnon with your back channel, and only you, Amnon, and you can hear it.
yeah.
I switched to an isolation mount for the mic to see if
Oh,
and
cool.
a floor standing setup here just to see if touching the desk was what was making the switching happen.
Yeah. So stop kicking the stand.
Oh, well,
Well, there is that.
Uh huh. Aha. Windows 10. I don't know where they're going to stop.
What?
Now,
Being,
Bert,
being,
do you
you
have
mean
Windows?
being idiots or what?
Microsoft has been accused of pushing Windows 10 rather aggressively, and the company's latest move is going to do nothing to silence these accusations. For Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 users, Windows 10 just became a recommended update in Windows Update. This is a change from previous categorization of the upgrade as an optional upgrade, and it means that there is renewed potential for unwanted installations. After the launch of Windows 10, there were numerous reports of not only the automatic download of OS installation files, but also unrequested upgrades. The changed status of the update means that on some machines, the installation of Windows 10 could start automatically. So if you have Windows 7 or Windows 8.1, you better make sure that you do not have automatic updates if you
Okay.
don't want Windows 10.
Okay. So this is a user group error.
It is?
This is a user group problem because Apple's OS X does the exact same thing that Microsoft does. When there is a new revision of OS 10,
Yeah.
10 point whatever, Lynx, whatever the hell, Bobcat, whatever they're calling the current one,
Right.
it just updates it. And the people on the Apple side don't care. I don't understand what this mentality is.
I've never seen that, Nick. I've had every Apple update, but I've always had a notification saying there's a new update available. Do you want to install it? So that's the way I'm set up. So
Well,
I've
one
never,
of, I
never
mean,
had it come down and hit me without authorization.
Yeah, I always get the pop up in the upper right hand corner, and it'll say,
okay, so, but now this is different. That's the change here. That's what they're talking about, the change, that it's
Yeah, I know, I
going to
heard-
do it as a recommended. Up till now, it was your option.
But this happened. They were
Uh,
trying this out back in November when they supposedly said it was an error that people were getting recommended updates and it was happening automatically. Now it's policy. So before they said it was a mistake and they rolled it back.
We'll see.
I think for the people that don't know to turn this off are the people that will be perfectly fine with
Ups,
Windows 10.
I was just gonna say that you're right. You're right.
I don't see a problem with it. It's this mentality that we can't ever upgrade anything.
No.
It's,
No.
it's
I
gonna-
mean,
Nick, actually in certain demographics, it's a huge problem because you get somebody who's 75 years old who doesn't know, next thing they know to turn their machine on and the menu's different.
well, the good thing
Yeah.
with them is they're not using proprietary hardware or software most likely that's going to break. Now, like Spence, I'm sure you're running programs that won't run on Windows 10. So for you kind of get screwed by that.
But
But I think
it's been
like
pretty
my-
good. The ones I've upgraded, I've only run into minor issues with upgrading where an upgrade was available, and it does run. I've installed older Windows 7 apps that work fine on Windows 10. But it's the perception. I have an aunt and uncle in Florida who are in their 80s who keep, when should I upgrade? When should I upgrade? I said, you don't have to. Don't, because they're not going to adjust well to turning it on and not having things where they expect it to be.
Yeah, my grandmother's computer updated, and I mean, she must have clicked it. She said she didn't, but that's a lie. And she's fine with it.
hey, Mike,
Yep.
are you keeping up with Blab?
Sort of.
Okay, because Tech Junk wants to come in.
Well,
I
then-
don't want to.
then I'll click that button and he's here, and I'll
Okay,
make sure you
that's
got
fine.
him potted up.
It is. He'll come back. He'll come in. I mean, there he is. But before that, not only this, Nick, what are we doing if somebody has an old Pentium that they are running Windows 7 on, which runs just fine, and
I'm
it
not running
has
Windows 7 on it.
4 gig of RAM?
Not running Windows 7 on it.
Why?
It'd be running XP.
No, they're running Windows 7. I mean, I've got Pentiums that
Okay.
run Windows 7.
Yeah, but you upgraded them to Windows 7.
I
what I'm saying.
understand.
Yeah, we
I
can-
understand that
okay, but
I upgraded them. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sure.
that's what we have to say here. So if somebody has a Pentium computer that ran Windows XP, it's not running Windows 7.
I am running Windows 7 on an XP machine
Correct.
right
but
on
you're
my
a tech,
desktop here.
you're a tech person,
Design,
Spence.
but designed for Vista. That's the generation we're talking about. And I just upgraded to Windows 10. It's only got 2 gig of memory
And
and a 60 gig hard drive, and it's working fine. And it's Windows 10.
interesting.
Pro.
Okay.
I mean, this is I think where we run into the problem. We jump back and forth between who we're talking about. If we're talking about non-tech people, they're running whatever OS came on their computer. So if they're running a computer that's 10 years old, it's not running Windows 7. It's running Windows XP. So if that's the case, they're not getting these updates. And if they're running Windows 7, then they could go to Windows 10. If they don't, if remember, we're talking about non-tech people.
Yeah.
They're not running any proprietary hardware. They're not running any proprietary software, most likely. 9.5 times out of 10, they're not running any proprietary hardware or software, and the update will be just fine for them.
Well, I guess this is new, so we'll have to wait and see what.
Well, it's not new. Windows 10 is.
No. I mean, it's new that they're doing it like this, and
I think
we'll
they
see.
should do it like that. I mean, they need to get these people upgraded to Windows 10, because then what's going to happen is the same thing that happened with Windows XP. People are going to stick around on Windows 7 and then complain when updates and vulnerabilities come out for Windows 7. It's so unfair to Microsoft. I mean, just upgrade.
Oh, I disagree. I think that Microsoft is trying to convert their model to a pay-as-you-go model instead of a one-time upgrade fee.
I think they're trying to do what Apple does, and it works out great for Apple.
But Apple offers OS for free.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're going to start doing.
Yeah, but that's
It's gonna
because
be-
Apple makes their money on hardware.
It's
Yeah.
it's going to be subscription. You wait. You're going to see once they get everybody that they want upgraded to 10, you're going to start paying like Office 365, a yearly subscription. You want to get the new updates, you're going to have to pay.
Tech Junk, you are still showing us your XSplit. I don't know whether you're trying to do audio only or whether things aren't working. Let us know.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I'm just
can
trying to
hear you.
do audio only.
Yeah, we
Um,
hear you.
The weak part
as-
of what's happening with Windows 10.
Wait a
software
second,
is not
Spence.
out yet.
Spence,
Hang on.
are you not hearing?
Tech
No.
Junk.
Nope.
Talk to us.
Can you hear me, Spence? Hello, Spencer.
I hear him.
Yeah.
I
Spence,
hear him
something.
too.
Yeah.
I hear him.
Hmm.
How can that be?
That's interesting. Oh, I mean, for now, go ahead and
Well,
talk.
hold on, but if you can't hear him, let's figure this out, because then it's going to kind of screw the
That's
whole
impossible because you and I are hearing through the Hangout as
Right.
Spence should be hearing through the Hangout.
I heard something, but it was not.
Well, hold on, Spence. Let Tech Junk go ahead and ask his question, and we'll get back to listen to us instead of for him.
I don't know. As a normal consumer for buying computers, looking at Windows 10, if you have Windows 7 and you update, I feel that there's really no big difference unless you get into the more complicated aspects of it. As maybe someone who doesn't understand it, I don't see any true big difference. I could be wrong. I actually seen older computers run much quicker on Windows 10, but I do have the issue of trying to find drivers, which could be a big a big aggravation, where the normal consumer might give up and be aggravated with the computer. So I feel Microsoft doing this is very dangerous, just as you guys are saying. That's all I'm going to put in for that. Thanks, guys.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So I've got two i7s here running Windows 7. Each one of them has a Delta 1010 LT sound card, and there's not a replacement card available. There are no Windows 10 drivers available for them. The Windows 7 drivers do not work. There are no Windows 8 drivers that will work. If I upgrade to Windows 10 on either computer, I have to take out those sound cards, which are the basis of my entire studio. Should I update?
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, as a normal consumer, it can be aggravated. I have a very expensive scanner that was bought about 5 years ago that has no drivers, and it runs with I believe Windows ME, and the only way to the only way to use that scanner is either use an older machine. There is a software that I can buy for like $75 that works. So yeah, you're right. That's the issue that I see. Them automatically doing that. I think people are going to have issues with equipment not working.
Do you have is this a pretty decent machine? Can you run VirtualBox or some other VM
It's an
software?
i7. I mean, how you say, how is it a decent machine? But why should I go through all that? When I boot my computer, it works now. What is Windows 10? So to take the absolute Microsoft position, what is Windows 10 going to do for me that Windows 7 is not currently doing? I know what it won't do for me, but what will it do for me that I should go through all that trouble just to be able to use the system the way it's working now?
You're absolutely right. There is no advantage to you. It's the advantage is to Microsoft.
Okay, so I don't upgrade. I mean, that's just the way it is for now. Luckily, I have found a card that I can use, but they're $1,400 a piece, and I'd have to have two of them. So I don't want to spend $3,000 to make Microsoft happy. It doesn't get me anything.
I was poking around over the weekend on versions of Windows 10, and the corporate edition is not available yet. It is also not part of the upgrade program, obviously. The beta is out there, but I think businesses, especially ones that are heavily invested in Microsoft Exchange and even into their cloud technology, they're going to be. I know they're looking at it now because they looked at Windows 8 and said no thanks, we're going to stay with Windows 7. And now with Windows 10, they're going to be forced at some point to move over unless they get an exception.
Well, we use Windows 10 at my office. Works fine. Very happy with it so far. Don't have any drivers issues, brand new computers and so forth. So it works great. I have no issue with it. It would be insane it would have been insane to install Windows 7 on brand new computers.
But it's running Windows 10 Pro, right? Not the Enterprise edition.
I don't know which edition it's running. Whatever it is, it works.
The Enterprise is, you can lock down Pro. I mean, there are ways to do it, but the Enterprise edition is a type of license for large companies that they can do all centrally managed and all that.
Well, we have software assurance at the company, so
Yeah.
if it's available, we have it, or if there's an early release, we probably have it.
Overall, I mean, from my perspective, I've been happy with Windows 10. I'm running it on some older machines, and it works fine. I have had very few issues with compatibility of old software. The only things I've run into were some of the drivers, and it wasn't a big deal.
Did you turn off all the phone home stuff?
Oh yeah. When you set it up, you go through and just say no to everything. And even then, there's still things that get back to them. If you look at the EULA,
I upgraded day one, and I've been very happy.
That was a new computer, right?
No, it wasn't.
I'm asking.
No, it was not a new computer. I upgraded from Windows 8. The day it was, I did the hack to get Windows Update to run to get it.
Well, there's a utility if you don't want to have your computer automatically update. There's a utility called GWX Control Panel, free, highly rated, and it disables all of the automatic updates for Windows 10.
You mean for Windows 7?
Yes.
For Windows 7 or 8 to upgrade to Windows 10.
Gotcha.
It's an excellent tool. It actually rewrites the registry, turns off automatic updates, and he actually provides updates on a regular basis. The name of the website was The Ultimate Outsider. It's a blog that he runs, and it's a great product. I have it on everybody that I know that I'm trying to help. I have it on their machines.
Well,
Also, the other thing that is very helpful when I update machines, especially when Windows 8 came along, is Classic Shell. If people are not comfortable with the new menus and start page, you can put Classic Shell on there, and it works great with Windows 10 and gives you a Windows 7 look-alike
Is it
menu.
is it necessary?
No, it's not necessary, but it
Gotta
makes it a
get
lot
used to it.
easier. You can avoid, how Amnon on Windows 8 and Windows 10, the configuration screens are kind of like reduced. They're much more simplified than they were before. Well, what Classic Shell will do, it'll allow you to access those older, they're all there, especially in Windows 8,
Mhm.
but it'll allow you to access all those older screens and the old format that you like, the control panel and all that, instead of going in and you go to configure some device and there's like two options. It's like, wait a second, what happened to my other menu where I could tweak this stuff? They've tried to simplify it and make it easier for people to do, but they've also reduced the functionality of that GUI. So
Yeah.
I like being able to go in and I'm on Windows 8.1 now. With Classic Shell, I can click on Control Panel. It lists all of the same functions that I was used to. Not the Windows 8 new GUI control panel, but the old Windows 7 style.
Okay, let me, Mike. You went from 7 to 10, right? You never used 8.
Correct.
Do you find it easy to use 10 as far as the menus and all that, the GUI interface?
Yes and no. It's very different.
Right.
And but there are things that they do differently. Instead of fully populating every menu, you have some, I don't know what they call them, I guess intermediate menus, where you can configure those. You get to pick the size of the icon, you get to decide what you want to put where. I like to have certain things in the taskbar. For example, an RDP, and it's really, really strange. I don't even know if I explained it correctly, but a remote desktop protocol icon, a shortcut to a remote desktop protocol, a startup file, I could not put the shortcut for the RDP file on the taskbar. It wouldn't work. It'd give me the no sign when I tried to put it down there. I actually had to create a new taskbar menu to drag it to that to put it over out of the way, which was a little awkward compared to what I used to could do. But it worked out okay. I mean, if you're persistent and want to spend some time playing with it, you can probably configure it any way you want it, but there's no question it's going to take some getting used to.
Okay, that's really not what I was, not the answer I was looking for. Let's put it this way: in the office.
Okay, how about this? It's identical. You won't even know you
No,
switched.
no.
Like
Yeah,
that
right.
answer?
Sure.
Okay.
No. I mean, in the office, are there other computers that were switched?
We got new computers. They all came with Windows 10.
Okay, what happened to the people that were working on 7 and the next morning they had Windows 10? Or was that a situation that they faced without being trained for Windows 10?
No, there was an orderly transition. They were brought into a session where during the session, their old desktops and things were drug over to their new machines while they were being given an introduction to the machine. Whenever they said, okay, start your email, show that email's working, they started Word, which is probably, we don't have a lot of power users there anyway, but there was kind of an orderly transition. I mean, my initiation was probably about 15 minutes and everyone else was in there for an hour to 2 hours. But after that, no one, as I understand it, there have not been a lot of problems reported.
All right, I don't know. I mean, I see customers here that come because they bought a new computer and it came with Windows 10, and back when Windows 8 was the same situation, and they come to me and they say, "Can you downgrade it to Windows 7?"
I would resist that initially.
Yeah, no, I can't. There's no way. All the new
Oh,
machines.
it came with it. Yeah, if it came with it.
Right, it came with it, and there is nothing you could do because there are really no drivers for Windows 7 on many of these.
Now, I mean, Amnon, I think since you said that,
Yeah.
you need to be the one that finds out what is it about it that they need to downgrade.
They just they don't feel comfortable with it, and I sit here for an hour showing a little bit of what I know, because it's really, I mean, it's logical in a way, and
But Amnon,
it's they don't want and they don't want and they don't
That's
want,
the
and
problem.
then
That's
I'll
the
put,
people.
huh?
It's the people that are unwilling
Right,
to
but
learn to use
but
anything
look,
new.
the computer, when it ends up in somebody's home, it's not an independent entity. It's the people that are using it, and if the people that are using it cannot use it, then that argument about the people that are having the problem doesn't hold here, because you want the person to be able to use it.
I get
So
that, but I'm trying to figure out what part of it they can't use because if
I
you
can
look
answer
at it,
that.
it,
I
yeah,
can
I'd love
answer
to
that.
know.
I can answer that.
Go
if
ahead,
you wanna
Mike.
hear it. If Amnon, if you would spend X number of hours learning what their complaints are by playing with Windows 10, learning how to add the shortcuts to the desktop, learn how to streamline things so that it has a familiar, it doesn't have to be identical, but it has to be a very familiar look and feel, you could help more people make that transition
right,
because it
and
is very awkward. I know that whenever Windows 7 first came out, someone I know who is technically savvy said, "Man, I hate Windows 7." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because they don't put your icons on the desktop anymore."
mhm.
And I said, "Well, there's a click setting for that. If you go in and click it, show desktop icons, you get to pick which ones you want to be on the desktop. They've simply given you more control over that. Moreover, when you go through all programs, you can right click on it and say send to the desktop, and you've added an icon to the desktop. They've just given you control." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that was just a first impression, and it's the same thing, I
In
think.
in most cases, it is a first impression, and if the person resists it and can't pick it up, and these are, older people, granted, because the young can do whatever they want and they figure it out, and I do end up installing something like Classic Shell,
I
I
wonder
and
would
I
say you
why.
don't need
and
it.
I tell them
Can
Here-
I ask you why?
to make it more so they can use it, but I explain to them that they can also click here and play with the GUI that came with it, and they need to get used to it because the next version is not going may not have this. So, and they do that. May not have this. Uh-oh. Okay. And they do that. And I hear from them later on, "Oh, I did it with the this and it worked. I found out. And I cleaned up my what do you call them? The tiles, and I deleted some things I don't need, and I added something." So they do play with it, but initially, if they don't have somebody to turn to, it is, what do I do now?
What I want to bring up
That's the
something
problem.
about this, about the transition, that it's not a technical thing. It is a business thing. When you force your client base to go through discomfort to adopt a new product, that's a problem.
Sure.
This is not a recipe for success. Now, Microsoft can do it because they have huge market share and people are forced to do it. But if you came out with you had a great product that everybody loved, and Mike, you run into this all the time in the audio world, where somebody comes up with a new version of something that sucks, and they don't make the old ones, gone. You can't buy it anymore. And so what happens to that company? They go away because they are ignoring their customers.
But you're right. It's a business issue, a customer
Yeah.
satisfaction issue. If you choose to say, well, my customers are going to do it my way, that's all there is to it, then your customer's only choice is to take it or leave it. When they leave it, that's not usually a good thing for your company.
Right. And
There
it's
are
not
not a lot of alternatives for Microsoft. So
it's also not a good thing for the company, and that's why I was asking Mike, when you have 30 people and somebody was working with one interface for years, and suddenly you change it on them and they cannot be as productive maybe, then you have to find the route that will make them the most productive. And
Okay.
Classic
But you know
Shell
what? In
would help.
fairness, that's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, and
true.
it'll never stop.
True.
You can't. I mean, we'd still be using Windows 98 if that were the case.
Right.
But here's the problem. Here, not the problem. Here's the answer to your question, Amnon. Because the lady who sits next to me, who's younger, very very smart lady, she was having some issues trying to get something to work on her new Windows 10 computer.
Mm-hmm.
One of our IT people came down there and sat with her for 30 minutes working through solutions until they finally found one that worked. They let the IT person left. She's happy. Life goes on.
Yeah. Well,
Amna, what part of Classic Shell do you? I mean, what part of Classic Shell do people like?
Is this Classic Shell for Windows 10?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
or-
trying to figure out.
I installed Classic Shell on Windows 10 for a couple of people.
Yeah, but I'm asking why?
And
what part
the
of it?
the reason is that it is familiar.
What part? That's what
The
I'm asking. What
start
pa-
button.
Start menu.
Okay.
start
'Cause the start
menu.
menu on Windows 10 is very similar to the Windows 7 one.
It's
Uh,
fixable to be similar to Windows 7. It doesn't look like it out of
No.
the chute. That's the problem, Nick. And
doesn't.
I agree with Nick in that I would be very hesitant to install Classic Shell, but I would be more likely to learn to configure the Windows 10 start menu to look like Windows 7 for those people who want it.
Yeah.
I use it for myself simply because it gives me access to, like I was saying, older versions of configuration screens. Now they're going away in Windows 10. They're not the same. 8 had them all. 8 was exactly the same as 7. If you dug down deep enough, you could find them. Windows 10, there are some of those menus that are not the same anymore, but that's okay. And, oh, Mike, by the way, I did find a solution to the trying to pin something to the taskbar. The problem is if you drag an app from the app menu to the taskbar, there is no translation. What you do is you drag the app to the desktop, you create a shortcut on the desktop, then you drag it from the desktop down into the toolbar and pin it. Then you can go back and delete the original shortcut from the desktop and it works.
You try it with an RDP.
With an
Look, here's what I want you to do.
okay.
Because I would love to find out I was doing something wrong. But here's the way to test it. Do a search on your computer for any file that ends with .rdp. It should be in your users folder or something like that. When you find the file that has a .rdp extension on it, right click on it and send a shortcut to the desktop, which is what you just said.
Right.
Then drag that shortcut down to the taskbar and tell me if it works.
Okay.
So what do you,
I'm not on 10 now. I'm on 8.
Oh, okay.
what so what's the issue? I've just been able to drag programs from the start menu to the taskbar.
As can
Not
I.
from the app menu.
No, all I'm saying is do exactly what I said. Go on your hard
In-
drive, on your C drive.
In Windows 8, you couldn't create shortcuts from the app menu.
I just did. I just opened it up. I clicked on apps and I just drag Adobe Premiere,
Those all work.
Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2015 to my taskbar, and it's there now. And I
Those
just
all work.
unpinned
Now
it.
let's get back to what
Well-
I was talking about.
No, I get what you're talking about, but I can't replicate that.
You can't find a .rdp file.
No, I've never used the remote
I
desktop.
think there's a default on your computer.
I
I'm gonna
just
go
tried it
over
with
to
search
my-
everything.
I'm going to go over to my Windows 10 machine and try it. I'll be right back.
RDP.
.rdp should be default .rdp on your computer.
I don't have it. I've never said it. I just see a bunch of AMD 64
No,
Microsoft.
if
Windows
it's not
files.
.rdp, it won't work.
Yeah, there's no dot. I don't have any dot.
Okay.
I've never launched it or used it. So, what if I launch it?
If you launch it, I'm sure it would create a
Remote
default.
remote desktop connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
now
if all it does when it pops up, it'll have a, I don't know, put in anything
Yeah.
and then just say save it.
all right, now I see a default.rdp. So let me hold on. Let me do
All
this.
right, right click on that and say send to desktop. Create a shortcut.
To the desktop you want it.
Yep, I want a default.rdp shortcut on the desktop.
Let's see. Send to desktop create shortcut.
Yep.
Okay.
Now look on your desktop. Do you see a default .rdp shortcut?
I do.
Drag it down to your taskbar.
Okay. Okay.
Did it work?
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, mine doesn't work.
Yeah, I can drag any anything. Okay. I can drag anything from my desktop to I just drag like an htaccess file there too. Oh, are you using Classic Shell? I wonder if that's an issue with that.
I'm not using any of that.
Okay. And I'm
Now
gonna
they
say
could have it blocked in group policy. That's why I think it's a
Yeah,
little bizarre.
that could be it. I can drag pretty much anything. Huh. That's odd.
No. I guess I really need to find the time to do this.
To do what?
To play with 10 a little bit more.
What
Like,
do you mean find the time?
I need to find the time. I'm not a student.
Yeah, I know, but you'll sit in a blab for 8 hours. I mean, you can't say you don't have time if you want it. If you wanted to learn how to use it, you
Eh,
could have.
I don't want to learn how to use it.
Well,
I'm
okay,
sure.
well,
I'm sure I'll be able to use it. Whether
Well,
or
but
not,
that's the problem.
whether or not I'll be able to be as productive, it's going to slow it down for a while, and then
mean,
it's
that's the-
going to.
what point? That's what I'm having a hard time, and that's why I'm hoping that you can help me because you've dealt with people that have the issue. What part of it is holding people up? Because personally, I don't see it. Like the start button, I know it's not the same. I get that.
Familiarity to an old fart brain.
But what I'm trying to figure out exactly.
I don't
what
expect you to
part.
understand that.
No, I'm not trying to understand, but what part exactly?
It is the GUI. The GUI
Okay,
is
the GUI.
different, and you try to get somewhere, and okay, where is it? It's different. I mean, right now most of us can probably blindly right click on start and browse or explore and go to
Yeah.
here and go to there. The one thing that I really am going to have to try is to see if my billing program actually works on it.
No, that could be an issue. I get that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I mean, that again, when I'm thinking about it, I said, okay, so if it doesn't work, then I'm going to have a machine sitting aside with Windows 7 just to do the billing, and it's fine. It's going to be fine. Good morning, man.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Just fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
So yeah, Nick, it's just a matter of doing it in the way that to make things work. And
I gotcha.
and I'm sure it's, it'll work. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what part exactly was holding.
Yeah,
people up.
it's more
because I'm interested.
It's the GUI, because I'm sure the way that it operates is much better than
Yeah, I think that was my point. People are so, like you said, people are buying these computers from Best Buy, and day one they're walking into your office.
Right.
And they need to downgrade it. They're not even attempting to try to use it.
That's right. They don't.
So-
They bring it. They most of these people bring it here, still in the box, and say, "Can you just make sure that my email gets on it and this get on it?" And and this is how I'm playing with Windows 10, not on one of my computers, on somebody else's computer.
Yeah, and that's
And-
unfortunate that people.
Yeah,
people are
I know.
so
But
afraid.
there's the value of Classic Shell is that it's a transition tool.
Right. But if you stick with it and you don't
But
even
It's
try
never
to
a
play,
transition tool.
no, it is. It is a transition tool,
But did
because
they ever turn it off?
that's the problem. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That a lot of them will play with the other side, with the Windows 10 or Windows 8 GUI. But if you stick with Windows Shell, and not try the new one, that could be a problem. Yes, because sooner or later, things are going to change. You're going to be somewhere else on a computer that does not have it, and you don't know what to do. So it's okay for your computer, and just so you can keep on being productive, and then learn how to use the new one. Sure.
It's so interesting, and I guess we can end it with this. It's so interesting how the Apple OS X mentality doesn't deal with this issue.
Because it doesn't change.
Yeah, no, that's not true at all. They move stuff around all the time when they do their updates. and
I
they're
never
completely-
heard people on the Apple complaining that, oh, I can't find that now. That
exactly they don't complain because they just adapt and they figure out how to use it. I mean, I've seen it. I use the computer every day. They'll do an update. They completely changed how the whole thing looks. It's all flat now. None of the icons have any icons on them. They're just colors. But you just deal with it. You
Well-
don't install some. You don't
Nick-
downgrade.
Nick, you're right, because look, when a new iOS version comes out, it comes out as completely different, but people are like, I can't wait to use it.
Exactly. But the Windows users are like, oh my God, I need to go back to Windows 95 because God forbid I have to learn how to use something new. It's a total mentality thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
It's a
maybe,
real thing.
maybe we will all learn how to use it because I've got it on good information here, reliable from Merle that says that Bernie is going to give everybody a free Mac.
Free Mac. Yeah.
Oh boy. Hey, Spence,
Yes, sir.
how would you like to do the specials now?
I would love to. Give me a second to get to the.
You're Gilberting, so you need to refresh your browser.
Actually, it sounds like he's running out of bandwidth.
That too, but let's give him a chance to
More
to
better.
start more better. All right. So the specials are, okay. Nick, are you going to put it in the chat or
Yeah, I got you.
okay? Hey, Spence? Okay, now he's frozen.
All right. Sorry, I switched back to the older version of.
Yeah, you're frozen. So go ahead and refresh again.
I see him. He's
I know.
frozen on your end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let me refresh.
Let me find the specials here.
Hold on, guys. Okay, I tell you what. Let me do this and see if. Oh, okay. Yeah. All I have to do is just switch. All right. Go ahead, Spence.
I got it.
Waiting for you.
Okay. So, what is today anyway?
The 7th.
Okay,
The
just
9th.
making sure, just checking. I want to make sure I had the date right. Sometimes I don't get the date right. I forget to change it.
The
PowerPoint.
21st. Oh gosh, yeah. Your bandwidth is.
My bandwidth is off?
It'll clear up. Just go.
Let's
Just
keep
do it.
going. Yeah.
Okay. Computers 2K Now specials for February 7th, 2016. Starting with staples, we've got a Lenovo IdeaPad 300 Core i5 laptop for $479.99. That's $100 off the regular price. Alltech Bluetooth in-ear sport earbuds, $59.99. Starting to notice even more and more discounts on Apple products, which is something you just didn't see. But Apple iPod Mini, $50 off at $349. We've got Dell 20-inch LCD monitor for $69.99. That's $50 off the regular price. HP Pavilion 550. This is an i5 desktop computer, no monitor, $449. That's $150 off the regular price. HP OfficeJet Pro. This is the 6830 all-in-one printer, $119.99. That's $60 off. Again, here we have a color laser printer that is probably cheaper than its materials or the supplies. $149.99. That's $80 off the Samsung C410W. Western Digital MyBook, 6 terabyte USB hard drive, USB 3.0 hard drive, $199.99, save $50. If you are not backing up your computer, if you do not have an external hard drive, a cloud drive, I recommend both. Having both a local backup and a cloud backup, please, please, please do something. The prices here are so reasonable for external storage, and the applications work so well that there's no excuse not to be doing this. Western Digital My Passport, 2 terabyte portable drive, $89.99. That's $40 off the regular price. And a Western Digital desktop hard drive, internal hard drive, SATA drive, 3 terabytes for $109. That is all at Staples. Moving to Best Buy, we've got a HP 17.3-inch AMD A10 laptop for $399.99. We've got Acer Iconia Tab 8-inch tablet for $99.99. That's $30 off. Here's an HP 15.6-inch entry-level laptop with an AMD A6 for $279.99. That is a really good deal on a quad-core machine as an entry-level machine. You will pay the same price for a Pentium or a Celeron dual-core. So nice deal there. Acer 23-inch LED monitor for $129.99. That's $50 off. This is an interesting device, the PNY Duolink 32 gig USB flash drive. And not only is it a traditional USB into your computer, but it also supports the Lightning connector, so you can plug it into your iPhone and transfer files back and forth. So if you're stumped sometime by saying, well, I want to back up my photos or back up documents or whatever I have on my iPhone, here's a way to transfer stuff back and forth. $49.99, $10 off. Lenovo Idea Center Stick. This is a small micro PC that supports wireless and HDMI, and it's ideal for plugging it into a television. Maybe the smart features on your phone most don't include browsers. Some do now, but they might include some apps. But this is a way that you can get access, give access to your television to a regular connection you would have with a computer or with a Mac, with a PC or a Mac, for $89.99, $10 off. Here's the reason why there's no excuse not to have a backup. 1 terabyte Western Digital portable USB backup drive, $59.99, $40 off. Buy one. Logitech K830 illuminated keyboard, $79.99. This does have the glide pad, so this would be ideal for a multimedia environment. You want to control, for example, a computer connected to your television. This is the way to go because it's lit. So if you're in a dark room watching a movie and want to do something. Ring Wi-Fi Smart Video Doorbell. And I don't know that this is the best price, but I wanted to mention this product. This is an interesting product. You place it outside. It's got a button on it. It's got a video camera built in. So when someone rings the doorbell, you can actually see over a Wi-Fi connection who's at the door and talk to them. $199.99. If you work from home, like many of us do, and you're upstairs in your home office and somebody rings the bell, this is a way that you can see who it is and not have to leave your desk if you're on a conference call or something. Epson Workforce WF3640 wireless all-in-one printer for $99. That's half price, save $100. This is for you, Amnon, for the studio. I want you to switch over to all these bulbs, okay?
Okay.
Okay, they're only $50 each. Save $10, but it's color, frequency and intensity variable LED bulbs that you plug in and control with your smartphone. There are applications for this. I don't have one, but it's a pretty cool product. Okay, so moving off of Best Buy to Office Depot, Office Max, HP 15.6-inch AMD A10 processor laptop, $399.99, save $150. 24-inch Samsung LED monitor for $139.99, save $60. We've got a Lenovo Tab 2 tablet for $99.99, save $60. SanDisk Ultra 64 gig micro SD card for $39.99. This is $60 off the regular price. If you do have an application for recording video, extra storage capacity on your phone, this is the way to go. Western Digital 4 terabyte external USB hard drive for $129.99. Amnon, 4 terabytes for $129.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
They fall. That's right. They're built-in. They have a little smoke machine in there, so that when it goes bad, it makes smoke, so you know it's bad, right? Logitech wireless combo, very inexpensive. This is $10 off. It's only $19.99. TP-Link Archer C8 802.11 AC wireless router. If you're not familiar with TP-Link and their high-end Archer line, these are great wireless routers. You have one, I have one. I have an older one. I'm actually going to upgrade. But take a look at these. $99.99. This is $30 off the regular price, as well as a TP-Link 802. Triple E wireless range extender for $99. That's $20 off. For those of you who have an application for mobile printing, here's a chance to pick up an HP OfficeJet 100 mobile printer. It does have a battery built in. Save $80. It's $199.99. And very inexpensive starter printer, inkjet printer from Epson. The XP420 is $50, which is $50 off the regular price, so half price. That's all at Office Depot, Office Max. And finally at Fry's, which is turning out every week to be fun to go and look at some of the wacky stuff that they sell. But worth looking at. They do have a line of DisplayPort 2 different interface adapters, typically $9.99 after rebate, so it's half price. In this case, it's a HDMI, mini DisplayPort HDMI. They do make it to VGA. They do make it to DVI, so they have the flexibility there. CyberPower 650 VA battery backup for $49.99. Now, maybe that's not going to hold up your huge desktop machine, but if you have a laptop, or if you have a bunch of peripherals around your cable modem, a telephone TA, and a few other things that you want to keep up in case of power outage, this is a great way to go. $49.99, which is $15 off. They've got increasing popularity, these dash cams, and this one's interesting because not only does it look out the front, but it also looks at the people in the car. So if you have kids driving your car, one of the popular things now, new features in new automobiles, is that the radio is muted until the seatbelt is buckled. So they're coming out with interesting ways to keep an eye on young drivers, ones who may not be aware of safety issues. So this is another way to say, hey kids, you're driving the car, you're on camera.
Nah, never mind that.
In the car and outside the car. What?
I don't like that product. I don't know.
No,
Spence,
You'll
this
come up with a way to defeat it, right?
Spence, this will show your face going
That's
when
right.
on the outside that you're about to hit something.
That's right. Well, I tell you, when you drive a motor coach, I have my CDL and I drive the big 55 passenger motor coaches. There are cameras all over that thing, outside and inside, on the driver,
Yep.
front, rear, sides, everything. So if anything happens, it's recorded. So it's
Right.
the way of the future for insurance reasons. It's a good idea. There is no he said, she said. It's recorded. So if you'd like to track the location of something, someone, a car, and in most cases, this is a satellite theft tracking device for $74.99. You do have to get a subscription, but it's $25 off the regular price. So if you are wondering where your vehicle's going, Plantronics is a very good manufacturer of headsets. I've used their products for years, have a bunch of different versions of it, desktop versions, portable, Bluetooth versions. But this is a great product. The Voyager Pro, been around for a while, but just kind of the gold standard for comfort. And I'm not trying to shill for them. I just like their products, right? $69.99, $30 off the regular price. This is an interesting device here. iStream Universal Bluetooth Audio Receiver. So if you have a device, say you have an older radio that just has an aux in, and you want to, instead of connecting it direct with a cable from your smartphone, you want to go Bluetooth to it, it's a Bluetooth adapter that will allow you to do it. So it will act as a receiver, a Bluetooth receiver, and then put that audio out on the mini plug, the RCA mini plug. So you can send stuff to older devices. Good idea. And finally, the most important thing is that if you go to Fry's this week, their combo meal is on sale.
I just saw it.
If you've never been to a Fry's, I used to go to the original one out in Silicon Valley back in the 90s. Actually, it was probably, they started, I don't know, I used to go out there in the 80s, so it was a while ago. But you would go in the store and there would be a rack of supplies for soldering, and right next to it were bags of potato chips. And then you go to another aisle where they sell televisions, and there would be, supplies to literally make your own chips. I'm not talking about potato chips. I'm talking
Yeah.
about ICs. So it's a wacky place. It started out like in somebody's garage with a bunch of weird stuff, and now you go into the store and it's just this amazing place.
Yeah. All right.
But yep, and that's it for February 7th. Computers 2K Now specials.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think Mike is already on the way there.
The closest one I think is Atlanta. I don't think there's anything else on the East Coast that I'm aware of anyway.
There are two of them in Atlanta. I've been to
Yeah.
one of them.
You have?
Yeah, it is a wacky place. I remember going in there and
I don't.
to buy stuff in Vegas because I would do a lot of trade shows. I go in to buy, I need something. And you'd walk in and they had the very first versions of the new style washing machines, the front loaders that were coming in from LG and places from Europe and Asia. And it was like, wow, that was the future. You didn't see it yet. They weren't in any of the stores.
So, Amnon, we have a guest.
Yes, and we're done. Spence, thank you again.
You're welcome.
All right. So at this point, I want to introduce Mayanna. Am I saying it right?
Yes, you are.
All right. And you help non-geeks with WordPress, with SEO, conversion, blogging, site security, performance. You're helping them with a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah, everything for site success for sure. But I have to tell you, man, listening to those specials and what y'all were talking about just brings back all kinds of memories. I was an electronics engineer for 30 years,
Uh-huh.
and I started in computers when you could walk inside them. I
Yeah.
remember, with tube stuff and whatever. And I remember when PCs came out and working on those and hard drives that were, don't drop it on your foot things, And so it was, that brought back a lot of memories from my time doing that.
Yeah, you're going to find a bunch of people here that remember these days.
Yeah, there was a time when if you didn't build your own computer, you weren't worth your salt, And these days, I haven't even thought about it, building my own, because I moved away, from computers and worked on multi-million-dollar machines, and so CAD CAM type things. I was a CAD specialist, and I haven't built a computer, and God, I'm almost ashamed to say how long it's been.
Mm-hmm.
But I
All
can
right.
solder. That's one of those things that a lot of people coming out of tech school now, they don't know how to solder. I can do that.
Okay, so first I want to let people know that if you want to go and see Mayanna website, it's blogaid.com. One word, blogaid, blogaid.com, and you can see what she's doing. But let's start the discussion here. So yes, there are a lot of people that are using WordPress. WordPress is very popular. We have our own Nick here, who is also a WordPress specialist, among other specialties. And what should people look into when they are thinking about getting into a website and somebody gives them or says, "Here, use WordPress"? Is there an answer to that?
Absolutely, 100%. Make sure that WordPress is right for you. It used to be back in the day, things have changed so much in the last 2 or 3 years, but folks are just continuing to repeat what's always been said, and none of it's true anymore. And so, it's a good thing to get up with the latest intel on what's happening, and WordPress isn't for everybody. You need to make sure that it's a good fit for your business. So look at your business type, how many pages you're going to need, really your goals and your conversion points, and make sure that WordPress is a good fit for you, because maintenance, security, performance, all of those things have come into it, SEO, and you can't just slap up a site with zero security and not care about that or performance or SEO and get away with it anymore. It's just not going to happen. And so not for you to do well, not if you want to do well and show up. So WordPress may not be for everybody anymore because the landscape has changed pretty radically, and DIYing it, you have to keep up. Now that said, if you do want to get into it, invest just a little bit in your education. The idea that everything should be free will be the most costly mistake you ever make. Those days are over too. If you want everything for free, you may want to check out a different platform that may or may not perform as well for you. So, get educated right up front. Avoid all the expensive pitfalls of any platform that you're on, and don't just slap a site up there and say it's done, you know.
All
Not
right.
if you want it to perform. Why go through all the paces if you don't want it to perform well?
So let's jump right into security because that concerns a lot of people to make sure that their website will stay up and will not get compromised and that
Right.
their customers' email addresses or other information is not going to be stolen. So, what recommendations do you have?
Well, the security landscape changed radically in 2013. We had the highest sustained DDoS attacks in history, and they ran almost the entire year. It was wave after wave after wave. And DDoS is distributed denial of service. Now, those are just overwhelms of servers, and host servers, big ones, big name ones, were going down left and right and staying down for weeks. And so a lot of hosts now have since then have had to take proactive measures for it to mitigate some of that. They had to spend huge money in mitigation services. They also lowered the ceilings on resources for things like CPU, memory, bandwidth, that sort of thing, because so many site owners aren't doing any security on their sites. So the hosts have to protect themselves from these things. Bluehost just announced at the State of Word address, or Word, I guess they were calling it WordCamp US in Philadelphia a few months ago, the biggest one in the world. Um, Bluehost was a major sponsor of that, of course, and they announced that for their 2 million websites, 80% of them weren't running the latest WordPress version, and so they proactively went in there and updated everybody, which of course broke a lot of sites and
Mm-hmm.
things. So I've also found that they've put code in it. This is all without the knowledge or permission of the site owners, because hosts have to protect themselves these days. They're running scans and sending those emails out to people saying, hey, you're not up on the latest whatever, WordPress version or plugin version or, whatever it is, to get site owners' attention. Another way they do that is to limit the site because of overages, and site owners blame the host for that. They've taken no measures. It's like you renting out office space in a strip mall and expecting them to tell you, the person you're paying rent to tell you how to lock the door or put in, security measures or whatever for your store. It's your store. You need to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really, a lot of hosts are taking major proactive actions. So sites are being limited. You need to check to see if you have a site, you need to put a monitor on it to make sure that it's up all the time. I like Uptime Robot. It has the least glitches. Pingdom is very glitchy. It sends out a lot of false positives. It'll worry you to death. But put a monitor on it and then go check if you have cPanel, brand control panel, go check to see if you've been limited for resource overages. That's especially true on cheap shared hosting. That's, the days of cheap shared hosting are over. The days of putting 4 or to 10 websites on one control panel account are over. If you secure your main one, but don't secure any, oh, it's just a test site, I'm just, doing a sandbox site. It's like locking the door and leaving all the windows open. The whole account is not secured. So you can't get away with that sort of stuff. It's just getting educated and making sure that you're up with the times. It's way, way, way cheaper to prevent than do it afterward. Ask any of my site audit clients. It costs 300 times more to clean up the mess than it does to prevent.
Yeah, it always does.
Yeah.
I want to kind of pause there a second and ask you, your video keeps on freezing,
Ah,
but it's almost like a pattern. Do you have your email running in the background?
no, I don't. And I tell you, it's just I didn't get a chance. I forgot to reboot before I got here. And let me see if I can take this down to 720 on
I don't
here.
see your video freezing.
Really?
It looks fine here. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't see it freezing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the new call-in thing. Is there? I don't see the toolbox or things like that. Is there a way to take it down to 7? Oh, hang on a
It
second.
may be a Blab thing. I wouldn't waste my time.
It's not on Blab. I mean, I see her in the Hangout.
You can download to
Oh, there it is. I see it.
downgrade.
I see it. Hang on. I am at 720p. It should be
That's
You
fine.
look fine here.
doing okay at that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
took me a second to find the new controls in Hangouts in the video call.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
20,
Let's
so
keep
that's
going. I mean,
it's
as
gonna
if
get.
it's all right. So as far as the act, you're recommending Uptime Robot to find out if you. But what about protecting? I mean, a lot of people have a WordPress site, and somebody installed it for them and gave them the leash, and that's it. And you're on your own.
Yeah, or that one-click installation kind of stuff. It's not secure. And people throw in a lot of heavy-duty security plugins like WordFence or iTheme Security, and that just gives you a false sense of security. Though I don't use any of those big behemoth plugins. Not to say that they're not, well, let me put it this way. They work as advertised. But the reason I don't use them is because they can be resource hogs, major resource hogs themselves, and they give you a false sense of security. They don't catch everything. And so I hard code mine. So guys, when you ask about what plugin is best for security, it's not about just one plugin. It's about the whole security combo that you use. So one plugin alone, especially if it's not configured well, could actually do more harm than good. So don't don't throw in something like, okay, I installed WordFence, I'm done. It's not like that at all. You're not done, not even close. I can hack your site with WordFence in there. So I don't know about iTheme Security. I haven't tried that one yet, but same thing. So hiring somebody to secure your site takes me about 20 minutes. It's pretty cheap to hard code the stuff in there. There are a lot of different ways that people do that. And again, there's no one way that's right. There's 14 ways that are right. And it all comes down to the combo that you use. So I would hire somebody who is vetted in security, not a designer necessarily. They're vetted in design, but somebody like me who's vetted in security that does it for a living and set that up for you.
Now, I dealt with a hacked WordPress site this week of one of our mutual friends, and it was a JavaScript injection, and I was surprised that WordFence actually cleaned up the entire thing.
Did
It
it?
replaced every JavaScript file and deleted every malicious PHP file. But I agree with what you said that just having WordFence installed isn't now my site's 100% secure. But I got to give props to their team over there because we pretty much were just going to completely rebuild the website because every JavaScript and PHP file was injected.
Yeah, Security is the same way. They do a pretty good cleanup job. And
Yeah.
so that's really what they're selling you. Think about it.
Exactly.
So they don't stop it before it happens. It's after the fact.
Yeah, they do their best to try to stop things, but like hackers, it's a cat and mouse game and cloak and dagger, and the hackers are always one step ahead, and somebody's going to get hit first. So once they find it, then they put it into the rules to check for it, but it's going to run through 90,000, 100,000 sites before that happens, right? And that's another thing. 100,000 sites get hit. They put stuff like that out all the time too to scare you. Guys, there's 36 million self-hosted WordPress sites. That's, how much of a fraction of 0.0001% or something? I mean, it's it's not like it's running rampant, but daggum, it makes for a great headline, doesn't it?
Mike, any questions Spence?
No, sounds good to me.
All
I
right.
mean, and
So-
one of the things that we were sitting here thinking about is that your approach, I would characterize as an enterprise level approach. That is, you're dealing with people whose businesses depend on their websites. These are not necessarily hobbyists, and there are certainly people who couldn't afford to hire you to maintain the security on their WordPress websites.
No, not at all. Most of my clients are mommy bloggers, lifestyle bloggers, social media experts and coaches, people who are huge on Pinterest and it's part-time income. That's the steady of, no, I don't do enterprise level at all. Mm-mm.
You're doing hard coding for mommy bloggers?
Some of it's hard coded. Yeah, it takes me about 20 minutes to secure a site with the hard code stuff. And then very lightweight plugins like Login Lockdown for brute force attack. And that's the only security plugin I have in there.
Well,
The
here's
rest
the
of it's
magic.
hard coded. It's very easy to do. My mainstay of business, one of my mainstays of business, is site audits for security and performance. And I go in there and check everything because most of what I check you can't even see from WordPress. It's in the hosting account itself where you need to go look. And then my other mainstay of business is training people, DIYer site owners. That is the big part of my business is training folks. And I've got two video libraries. One is for mainly the end user with WordPress, and the other is for webmasters. And it's mainly for designers and developers who want to, mainly designers and VAs, who want to up their skill set to be able to install sites securely and check them and do these site audits like I do. There's I think 40, 50 videos on just setting up and installing and securing WordPress.
Well, here's my question though. You made the comment, the suggestion, and I'm not challenging you on it. I'm actually intrigued by what you're saying. You said that and I don't use this term derogatorily in any way, shape, or form, but the mommy bloggers are no longer using cheap shared hosting. And I'm intrigued because cost is a major consideration for someone who's casually blogging for the fun of it, the mommy blogger. And I'm now intrigued that they're no longer using cheap web hosting like I do, and B, that they're able to hire a consultant to secure the site. Give us a rundown on how much money the mommy blogger spends to get a secure WordPress website on a secure server.
Oh, less than $100.
A month
No, period.
for the server? A year is less than $100?
Oh, the server.
No.
No,
I was
only
talking about
people
just
that
the
need
service.
to get the site
Oh.
secured. I mean, my
Gotcha,
site
gotcha.
audits are only a couple of $100s, and then we do the work afterward depending on what we find. And sometimes, a lot of times, that's $100 or less. And there's some things that they can do for themselves. So it depends. I think a lot of folks, the site work, even when it's in pretty bad shape, that they've tried this, tried that, they've got a lot of orphan files. The stuff just needs to be cleaned up. When you take plugins out, they don't always come out cleanly. There's all kinds of junk in there too. Conflicts, bad plugins, resource hog plugins all over the place. Taking all that stuff out is less than $500 for sure. So most of my clients never go up to $500 for that end of the service. So, I'm not one of those people who charges an arm and a leg for things, and neither do my team members for things. My hack specialist a lot of times can clean up a site for $100. So, and he's world class hack specialist. So it doesn't really have to be all that expensive. One of my clients was paying $2,400 in hosting because of that game that the hosts play. You run out of resources. They're not going to send you away. They're going to tell you to up your package. And she just kept going up and up and up. And a lot of these people are running into that they started on shared and they just have to keep up in the game because the bots are running wild. And so they're just giving more room for those rats to run. They're not actually fixing the problem. They find somebody like me, and I saved that client 24. Well, she's at 120 a month now because some of these people have some very serious traffic, 100,000 hits a day traffic. They may be mommy bloggers, but they know what they're doing, and they've got some pretty serious traffic going on. Huge on Pinterest, things like that. Working with big ad agencies. So
Okay, all right, but
yeah,
that's
but
not
they're
the
still
mommy blogger I'm talking
DIYers.
about.
They're still DIY people, and that's what I help them do. So for hosting, you're looking at, even for the cheapest shared hosting, $7 to $10 a month minimum. Minimum. Pardon me.
Yeah.
What I tell people about shared hosting is you're in a third world ghetto. You spend $1,500 to $3,000 on a nice looking theme, and you're setting it in that kind of neighborhood. So if you can afford to get off shared, do it. But that's where 90% of people are. So that's the real world. I try to work with them in it.
All right, man. You also have something on your belt that says conversion.
Hmm.
Okay, what do you mean?
For getting clicks, for people buying your products, for people signing up. So conversion points are going to be anything that you can get your audience to do. Follow you on social media, sign up for your newsletter, buy your products. So any type of conversion point that you have, that's what I help people with, and get a lot more of them.
Okay. And when somebody wants to just start with WordPress,
Mhm.
what do you recommend they do? I mean, okay, I'm told I need to go to WordPress.
Mhm.
Do you recommend they look for somebody to do it for them, or is it good enough for the masses to go and install it and set it up themselves?
They can set it up themselves if they want to, but it's not going to be secure. So you're going to pay for security one way or another. Either, throwing these plugins at it or hiring a tech to do it. Take your pick. So, and hope all is well when you don't know what you're doing and you're securing. It's like you setting up your own alarm system and hoping it actually works at the time that you're broken into. So the best thing I can say is get a little bit of education. Follow people like me. There are people who talk about it all the time, and you can get educated in how to do that, and maybe pay somebody to set it up well for you to secure it. Somebody that knows what they're doing. It really doesn't cost much compared to later on down the road when the host starts contacting you to go up in packages and things. It gets costly not to do it.
Yeah.
Same thing with your conversion points. You mentioned that. People go looking at themes. Number one costly mistake that new site owners make, they're looking at pretty, and they hire a designer that knows nothing but pretty. They're a glorified graphic artist. And so you lose money every way that you can because you're blogging yourself to death and not getting traffic because you have no SEO, because the site is loading slowly, because you don't know where your conversion points should be. You don't even know what your goals are. Here's the thing, guys. I don't mean to hit anybody over the head with a hammer with all of this. I'm just saying that everybody has to start somewhere. And some folks are just doing it for fun, and it's a hobby, and they don't know if it's going to make any money. So they don't want to put any money in it. I get that. Totally get that. When they do know that, yes, there's a reasonable chance of making money here, that's the time to get serious about investing. If you want to sell fruit out of the back of your truck, fine. When you're ready to go to a store, you're going to have to get a little more educated about that, right? So that's all I'm saying is when it's time to be serious about making money, then be serious about investing as well. And it
Right.
doesn't cost nearly as much as you think.
Hit on the head. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Pick up your hammer and do it.
Yeah, I try to inspire people, and today I feel like I'm hitting everybody on the head with stuff, but it can be done. And the more, if you listen to my site audit testimonials, I do interviews with these people and let you hear it in their own voice. And really, that's what works. People hear it from their peers. That's probably why I've got so many mommy bloggers and craft bloggers and lifestyle bloggers. They're in groups together. And when they get the real help that they need, then they spread that word around. I have a standing invitation to any guru with groupies who's putting out bad advice.
Mhm.
A standing invitation for my gold site audit for free, because they hide behind I'm giving out bad advice on the premise of I've never had trouble with it. Do you even know if you're having trouble? And so come get a site audit for free. The catch is you have to tell your audience how that went. And nobody has taken me up on it yet. But I've stopped banging my head against the wall. I contacted a lot of those people privately saying, hey, folks who are in your group are saying not so nice things about you because they're finding the real troubles with things, and they don't trust you anymore. Would you like to come for a site audit and get this fixed so that your recommendations for tech can be as good as your coaching? And I do that privately, and they all turn me down. And it's, well, you're just building my business for next year. There are some people who are making $30,000 and $40,000 a month off of horrible hosting recommendations that I can't move people off fast enough. I'm overloaded with clients coming off those hosts.
You need any more contractors?
So yeah, as a matter of fact, that's why I started my webmaster training program, because I'm expanding my team almost every month, and I need
Awesome.
specialists in different things. So
I've got a
I have
candidate
I have
for you.
a e-commerce specialist, a hack specialist, several Genesis design specialists, and email specialists. I'm looking for all kinds. Plus, I need people to just do turnkey site setup, secure site setup. I work with a lot of coaches that bring volume clients, like 50 at a time, and like that work with authors or artists, and they all need sites and they need that turnkey setup. I can't possibly do all that work myself. So, I train people to do exactly what I do. The test is that they have to do it right in front of me. I don't care if they look at notes, but I have to be able to vet them.
Of course, you won't
so
be able to
when I,
do what
yeah,
they say they can do.
yeah, when I send out a recommendation for somebody or turn somebody over to my team member, I have to sleep at night. I have to know that they're vetted and they're good and they're going to handle a client the way that I would. So, yeah.
Mike, you said you hit somebody for her?
Oh,
You-
possibly
Okay.
offline.
Okay. Thank you.
So
I ran out of questions, but that's because I don't use WordPress. So I
well,
don't-
we've already used 45 minutes of our time, so there we go.
What do you want to add, man? And you can hang out with us here.
So how do they contact you? Who do you want to hear from? Who's your ideal customer? What are you looking for?
Anybody who's starting out with WordPress, my videos start at $1, and it's like 15 or 20 videos for $1. And so, I've got a whole library that has up to, I think it's 120 videos to get you started so that you can actually learn WordPress, because everybody just jumps in and teaches themselves. I'm expanding that library radically. And so I've got 4 more libraries. As a matter of fact, one of them's going in today for video marketing, because that's the new huge thing. I mean, that's why y'all are here, right? And, why I'm on Blab and all these other things. Video marketing is huge, and you need to tie that into your site. So it's really easy to learn. There are lots of ways that you can do that at your own pace, in your own time, for very inexpensively. But do take the time, make the sweat equity for that. Get your stuff secured. Get a solid backup solution and make sure it's a really good one. Get away from the plug-in kind of things and go to a cloud service. It's really, really easy and cheap, like VaultPress Lite.
Like
And
what?
then keep up with folks like me for things like Tips Tuesday. I put out a weekly roundup with all the news. I put out little videos on YouTube for if you're using things like the Yoast SEO plugin. When something changes, I put out a 4-minute video, and you can stay up to date with things. It's not as hard as you think. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients DIYing their own site, and they're perfectly safe. They're doing very well.
I have a question for you with regard to WordPress installation. There's a nonstop controversy over installing WordPress manually or using Softaculous or whatever these installer programs are through cPanel. What do you think?
None of the one-click installations, none of those are secure. None of them.
What is the major security flaw in a one-click installation?
Well, the htaccess file, the files that you need to really get into manually, like htaccess, they may set it up, but they don't touch it, and there's no security. There's just a standard WordPress rewrite, and that's the gatekeeper. Everything that comes to your site has to hit that file before they go anywhere else. That is the main gatekeeper, and you want to vet everything that comes in right there. So that's one. Your robots.txt file needs to be set up properly, because bots are chewing on your site unabated, good and bad, and you don't even want the good ones to chew unabated on it. You want to keep them out of sensitive areas. Put things in like your XML sitemap, because a lot of bots just want to find that and then go on their merry way. The good bots do. Instead, they have to crawl deeply through your site, which chews up more resources. So just those two things alone don't get done for you. There's plenty more, but it's real easy to set those things up. Some of them are host environment dependent. So you need, not all, you won't find me writing a generic tutorial on htaccess directives, because they won't work on all hosts. GoDaddy comes to mind. Not a single one of the security directives will work on GoDaddy. Not one. So, and they keep wondering why their stuff gets hacked all the time. It's like, well,
So,
if
who's
you
your
let people
favorite?
put security in, you'd be all right, right? So those are things like that takes just minutes for somebody who knows what they're doing. And
So, who is your favorite host for Mommy Blogger?
oh, no, 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 no. I don't do any public hosting endorsements anymore, and here's why. I'll tell my actual clients, but here's why. Because the industry is so volatile, and like this major DDoS attack we had over the holidays. It started just before New Year's Day and ran almost all the way through January, and even mission critical hosts were going down because the attack happened at the edge of the Linode servers. It was kind of outside their realm of protection. It hit at the network edge of that. And mission critical servers were going down, like WP Engine. Mission critical means you never go down, and they were down. A Small Orange went down for 8 days. This was happening to Bluehost and HostGator and whatever a couple of years ago, back in 2013. They were down for 2 weeks at a time. So there is no place to run and hide. Nowhere, unless, I don't know, if you're at the Pentagon or something. I mean, every host is going to hit a bump, period. And people are intolerant of that. So I don't want my name associated with anymore. I used to. There was one host that I'm actually still on that I dearly love. They hit a bump in the road, and everybody pummeled me. And it's like, and this is my fault, how? And I even saw that yesterday. They were doing a major maintenance thing that was going to take 8 hours. There's a very valid reason for it taking 8 hours. And a bunch of hosting people came in there and said, there's nothing about this that should take 8 hours. And it's like, guys, they're not doing it the way that you think that they're doing it. You don't even know what's going on, and you're giving them a hard time. This is 2 years later, and somebody came in and said, Mariana, I got this 2 or 3 years ago on your suggestion, and I'm not blaming you, but, and I pummeled him with that. I said, wow, the 2 or 3 years you've been using it, you never once mentioned my name when you were happy with it. This is
Well, I
why.
know, but that's the way people are. I mean, that's
He removed his comment because
Yeah.
of that.
all right. So I've been asked to ask you the question a different way, and these are people who are interested in your services. It
Okay.
says, which hosting company do you enjoy working with the most?
Mm-mm.
She,
Not gonna
that-
happen.
she-
You can poke all you want to. Ain't gonna happen. If you
and
hire
is
me,
okay, and
I
is
will look at your needs, because that's like, okay, here's the other reason. Maybe this is something that you can handle. It's like
I can
asking
probably
what's the
handle it.
best car to drive. For what? Are you hauling a bunch of kids? Do you have a 50-mile commute? Do you go off road? So without knowing your needs, I'm not going to dare answer a generic question, because there's some hosts that are better for some things than others. So,
man, but here's an easier question.
okay.
I'll ask it a different way. What headset are you using?
Plantronics. That's why I was jumping up and down when he was saying Plantronics. I am a Plantronics addict. I had their phones, their headsets for years. This little one that I've got here is Plantronics, and I'll tell you why I got it. Vanity. So when I started doing Hangouts on air, I needed something, because I talk about tech. I talk to these mommy bloggers, and it can be intimidating. And I talk to non-geeks. I teach non-geeks, and I didn't want a bunch of gear or a big microphone in my face or whatever. So it is a little muted. I don't use it for my podcast. I use a much better microphone for my podcast, but it takes the tech away, so it's not so intimidating, and I dearly love it.
Okay, Steve, I hope that was satisfactory. Nick,
Yeah.
any comments?
No, I asked my questions.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
So
come
I
on,
mean,
guys. You got more questions? I'm ready. I'll take it.
I'm sure you will. I mean, I don't think. And this was pretty good. This was pretty good way of not answering a question.
Yeah. Where are you located?
Nashville, or can't you tell by my accent?
Well, I knew you weren't from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can do the hard Southern accent from East Tennessee and over that way, or the soft Georgian accent, sugar.
Spence, did you have a question?
No, I just want to say I'm impressed. It's got a nice operation. I think that you definitely make the most of making the value for your customers. Incredible value for the cost.
Yeah, I don't like to be ripped off either. I'm service all the way through to my bones, and I was raised that way and have been that way my whole life. And I charge enough to make a living and what I think is fair, and I help people avoid getting ripped off, and that's through
Yes.
education mainly. So,
Yeah,
We have a
good job.
question in chat. They want to know what's your podcast schedule and what's the name of it. Where can they find it?
Tips Tuesday, it comes out. It's a podcast and post. What I'm doing is reading you my post. I give you all the news every Tuesday about what's going on. Keep you well ahead of the curve. I keep most of my peeps about 3 months ahead of the curve with what's happening. And for breaking news, you can find that on G Plus and Twitter, and then it'll be in my roundup as well about what's coming up and what's going on. I also have a Blab show on Wednesdays right after that, so we can discuss the news. And I have, topics on those blabs. I just did one on why free is the cheapest thing or the worst thing, most expensive thing that you can do, the free mindset. But I talk about all kinds of things on that blab, and you can just jump in and talk with me and ask me questions. I come on the weekends randomly. As a matter of fact, I'll probably be on Blab this afternoon, just randomly. It's not a scheduled show, and it's called May I Help You? And I take questions just like this because answering the question that you have in the moment that you have it is the most powerful help I can give you. It beats any 100 generic tutorials that I can put out there, but helping people with exactly what they need in the moment. So it's kind of a free pick my brain session too.
Okay.
You can
Uh,
find all of it on Blogade. So yeah, there's
There-
links. It's under the show's link for the Tips Tuesday and the Blab. I also do interviews on Blabs with industry experts too. Did a great series about content marketing and refreshing your content, how to write epic content and share it so it's all over social media and goes viral. Dates on post, repurposing your content. I mean, I'm good buddies with a lot of these industry experts, and I did a free Pick My Brain session with them and shared that with my audience. It was awesome.
What's your blab name?
Blogade.
Blogade. Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people have trouble with Mayana, and so I just left it as Blogade because everybody can say that.
It's a good. It's a good name.
Thank you.
Okay. I just want to remind everybody our number is 919-518-9773 or Computers 2K Voice on Skype if you want to call in and ask a question. If you're on Blab, you
Open
can take a seat, and Mike will. I promise you, Mike will not pull the seat from under you.
You don't know that.
No, you won't. I know you.
You don't know that. So Guy wants to know if we can put that number in text.
Yes, of
number?
course.
I want to go back and clarify why I said at the front, if y'all have got a minute, about why WordPress is not great for everybody.
Absolutely.
If you're because you have to keep up so much more now. Even I do. My business has changed pretty radically in the last 2 years. As a matter of fact, this site audits took over my business 2 years ago, and I'm just now really turning back around to get back into the teaching that I used to do live all the time because I went into performance and the security thing hit and they go hand in hand. It kind of took over my business. But that's why I'm saying WordPress is not for everybody. If you have a mom and pop shop or something, real honest to goodness, Blogger is not a bad thing. Squarespace is not a bad thing. Wix, yeah, I don't know about
Wix is
Wix.
terrible. I think everybody can. Wix is not good.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I've heard not so great things about it, but there's no upkeep with maintenance or that kind of thing. It's a pretty static site, especially if you're not blogging. You put up your 2 or 3 pages, you get your Google listing, for your business and get on the map, and there you go, and you're done. So it's really WordPress is not for everybody. It may not be the best fit for you.
Yeah, I think Squarespace is probably the best way to go if you're not if you want something static. I've heard, I've never used them, but their support and their
Yeah, I'm probably
custom-
going to have to jump over to Squarespace at some point and check it out. I've just got all that I can keep up with. We've got major changes coming with WordPress too. PHP 7 is coming. Google AMP is about to hit in just a few weeks. I just tested out the WordPress AMP plugin for that. It's like what's going on with Google and SEO is just amazing. The Calypso interface is coming. So we have a perfect storm coming of things changing, and you've got to keep up with these things as a site owner. Don't outsource everything either. Don't just turn it over to somebody that's especially a VA that may not have the skills that I teach my people, and they can come get that training. And being totally hands off. I have interviews with site owners that we did site audits, and they were completely hands off. They didn't even know enough to make a good decision for their site, and that's too hands off.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keeping up, getting educated is a good thing. You don't have to go all the way into it and all the tech, and you can still hire somebody, but make sure that it's right in the first place and that person knows what they're doing, because you're suffering from what they don't know too.
Now, are you using PHP 7 on a lot of the sites that you're migrating people to or from?
No, we're still at PHP 5.6. They skipped over 6 because they kept adding all of the things from 6 back into 5.
Yeah.
And so, we just skipped over 6, but more and more hosts are pushing for this, and this is why. Because it's so much faster, the overhead is lower, and if they can put advertising out to say we're 20 times faster, well, God, they're going to get the business. So they're not going to want to hold this train up, and they're going to be pushing hard to have everything in WordPress go up there. Of course, plugins are going to be the thing. Old plugins are going to be the problem. And with plugins, we're moving more and more and more toward paid versions, which is a good thing. Because Matt Mullenweg, everybody was complaining that WordPress updates too often, and nobody can keep up. And a lot of these guys who did the free plugins that we enjoy so much, they can't keep up with the changes and the support. It's free. There's no money in it for them. And they're complaining. And Matt said, too bad. Train's moving. Keep up. So with that, Calypso, PHP 7, we're going to start seeing more and more free plugins fall by the wayside and become unsupported. And we're going to have to start paying for that support. And that is a good thing. I know a lot of freebie mindset people don't like it, but it is a good thing.
So are you using Code Canyon for some of your paid for plugins, or where are you getting those from?
There are a couple on there that I really like. I don't have that many paid plugins.
Okay.
Most of my site owners don't have many paid plugins for it, but Code Canyon is one place.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to add? You want to add?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I say it can be a lot of fun running your own site and doing a lot with it. Just progress in your education is the main thing. Learn what you're doing so you don't spin your wheels for 2 years, and you get there much quicker. I have a lady who lives down not very far from me. She's not down the street, but not very far from me, who makes $250,000 that I know of, and she's an affiliate marketer. There's another client that makes $10,000 a month in sponsored ads. I've got another client that the sponsors are beating down her door. She's got a podcast. That's pretty much all she does is a podcast, and came to me for a membership site to make good on all those members that she's got. I do membership. I help people with membership sites too. So people can turn their audience into a ton of money. I've got another client, huge on Pinterest. She can pull in $500 a day when a post goes viral. So another client that's Home Depot wants to feature one of her blog posts and some of her crafts because she's getting all of her products there. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of ways to make money. And if you know a little bit about what you're doing, then you can make it a lot faster and not spin your wheels. Another client who's just over the top, we have to keep upping her hosting because of the legitimate traffic. And she's just doing very well. There are, just get educated in what you're doing and keep up, and you can make money too. Now, not everybody does, and I don't want to fill you with that kind of hype that you can too, but you can. You just have to get educated on doing it.
I have a
It
question.
doesn't cost as much as you think.
My question to you is, you said, and I'm not questioning it or challenging it. I don't understand it. You said that on a good day she can make $500 on Pinterest.
Right.
How does someone make $500 on Pinterest?
Ads on our site, of course. They come from Pinterest. That's the draw, the traffic back. Like all social media, you want to point it back to your site. And she gets huge traffic and has pay-per-click ads. Plus, she has her own shop too, so that people may buy directly from her, but a lot of it's ads.
Right, but a sale of goods from the shop is a gross sale. An advertising income is net. That's a big
Most
difference.
of it, yeah, most of it's advertising.
Right.
The overwhelming majority of it's advertising.
500 a day net's a hell of a lot different from $500 a day gross, particularly if you're not making any money on your product.
Right. Exactly.
And there are a lot of scammers on the internet who are posting some pretty impressive numbers as to what they're doing. And some of them are probably true, but they're posting gross numbers and they can't operate their business in the black. So the number is meaningless.
Well, and these site audit clients, people ask me about my prices. I go for long-term relationships with my clients. I'm not looking to stick it to them once and then leave. And so, and the referral business, and they just keep sending people to me. So it pays me to be reasonably priced with some of this stuff. But, they have to reinvest some of that money. So if they make $500 to $1,000 that month, they may have to 1 month reinvest that into somebody like me to up their game. But here's the thing with a lot of them, and you'll hear this in the site audit testimonials too, that every one of them that I helped is making even more money. It immediately, within a month, paid for itself because of all the things we fixed, like abandonment rate. So some of these sites were loading at 30 and 40 seconds. Yeah, well, the abandonment rate is huge on something like that. So when we fixed all of the issues, including having too many ads on there, when they pull all that back, and they can get to a load time under 10 seconds, now they don't have this huge abandonment rate. They've got more traffic on their site. They can charge more for their sponsored ads, and then the pay-per-click ones are getting more clicks. And they're making way more money, and it paid for itself in just a month or two.
Well,
So,
maybe you said this and I missed it, but if someone wants their first WordPress site or they want to upgrade their WordPress site, is that a service that you offer as well? I mean, ground up, including content creation?
well, I'm
Let me
working,
qualify
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm training my team into. I don't offer that in volume yet. I don't publicly advertise it because I'm putting my team together to take on more and more of that. But no, we don't do content. I do have copywriters.
I didn't say that right. I don't mean the blog posts. I mean the platform. That is, I'm speaking mostly about, for example, graphics and look and feel and all that. You do that from the ground up?
Right, but here's the thing. The reason I'm training my team to take on some of this kind of work instead of me doing it is because people are going to want to dive into the theme and they're not ready to enter the design process. The only way to get to my designers at this point is through my training or for me to be the project manager, and here's why. Because my design team keeps their costs low too. So if you don't have your content, you don't know your conversion points, and you've never worked with premium themes, you're not ready to enter that design process. That's what the training is for. As a matter of fact, in my Scratch to Publish training, We don't even talk about themes until 6 hours of training later because you don't know what you're looking at until then. So, and it works because when people launch these sites that they're building during this training, it hits the ground running so hard they have to hold their hat. They convert the very next day. So that's why I do the training the way I do it. I don't do it where uneducated clients with no content have no idea what their conversion goals are just going on looks and go into the design process. It's frustrating for the designer and it costs a ton of money. My folks come in having all of that, knowing exactly what they're doing and why, design specs in hand, and the whole design process is quick and easy and cheap. So I do it very differently. That's why I'm not saying, no, I don't want 5,000 people to show up for a turnkey site kind of thing, and why I'm training a team to do that that's away from me so I can set it up and people can just fill out a form and get a turnkey site set up but no training. Or they can come back to me for training, but at least it's secure. But that's why I don't offer that service publicly at this time. It will be coming, hopefully by this summer.
Well,
Okay.
thank you for your information and for your time. It's very interesting. We've had a lot of interest in Blab and in here, so that's good.
Yeah,
Happy to be here. Thanks, guys, for asking me. I appreciate it.
sure.
And
Uh,
when is your regularly scheduled Blab?
Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, very good.
All right,
Thank you.
guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. You don't have to leave unless you want to leave. We're going to end it in a few minutes, but before we end it, I am going to reload the Hangout. I want to see if
Well, why don't we
what-
just wrap it up and
no,
we can
Nick,
deal with
Nick,
it
Nick,
after?
hold on. No, I don't want to wrap up. Hold it.
Okay.
Just hold on, guys. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's coming. Oh, yeah, it is coming back up. And it is here. And it is here. That did not do, I don't know if that did the trick.
So, Nick, did you see the interesting iPhone bricking issue?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's really interesting. I know some people that have replaced home buttons that have I don't know what people do to their iPhones, but that like completely destroyed their home button and replaced it, and now they're and technically, or not even technically, now their warranty is void because the second you open up that phone, your warranty is void. So.
So how are they replacing their home buttons? They're actually opening the case and replacing the hardware, or what?
Yeah, there's the home button is just it's the button with the little ribbon cable on it that puts in that connects into the backboard of the phone. So
They
it's it's a dirt cheap part. I want to say it's like $10 on eBay.
Amnon, you're muted in the Hangout.
I see that.
So that's what people are doing, and
Um,
I understand why it's a security risk because you can put some. It's like throwing the credit card reader thing
Yeah,
over the gas
Yeah, but
station.
there's something very interesting in one of the stories that I read. It
Okay.
is not the actual changing of the hardware that does it. It's an iOS update.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
phone
but
update, software update. But wait a second,
It's
wait.
the software update that's checking for
Right,
it. It's
but
not
wait
the
a
software
second.
update
That's
for it.
not my point, Nick. Hold on.
Okay.
Apple is telling them that there is nothing they can do with the phone. And people are complaining. They say, well, since it is a software that bricked it, why can't a software bring it back up? You did not take my phone in and actually did something to the hardware to brick it. It's your update, software update, that actually bricked it. So you should be able to unbrick it the same way. And Apple is not answering.
Well, I think there's probably something in the EULA
Well,
that when you buy, I'm not defending them. I'm just saying there's probably something in there that protects them to say that if you alter the security
Yeah.
features of the phone, that we can detect that. And because they're talking about how this disables Apple Pay. I mean, this is a big deal in that this is your one of your most secure methods of securing the phone is using the fingerprint reader. And if you replace that with a non-certified piece of hardware that can be compromised, we can no longer guarantee that Apple Pay or all these other things that you authenticate are available, so we shut the phone down.
Yeah,
Right.
You could easily have a third party home button that's not. I mean, it'd be hard for them to send home data from the iPhone, but like when you connect it to your computer, do a send home that way. I mean, it's a huge security risk. I have no problem with Apple doing this.
I see their point. I
As
think
do
they should provide a remedy for it. Maybe to say, well, bring your phone in and we'll replace it with a valid component, and then you can use it again.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is a huge security risk for their platform, because then it's just going to come back to Apple and say, well, look at you guys, now your phones are a security risk, and then they look like idiots. So
They don't need any more
PR.
negative publicity.
All right. So anyway, Mariana, I want to say thanks again.
Thank you for asking me.
This was really, really good. Good information, and I'm sure the audience also benefited from it. Even though I don't use WordPress, I benefited from listening
I'm
to you. Nick, Spence, Mike. Thanks, guys. Is there anybody wants to add anything, guys? Nope. Okay. So let's end it.
Get a Mac.
Yeah. All right. So good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope that you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive. Update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, I'm sorry. But you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today at 1 o'clock, it is My Life, My Will with Gisela. And at 8 o'clock tonight, it's the Tanya Love Show. See you later.
You're tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Parent Dome with Ryan Miller, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.